over to you.
Thank you, Ria. It's good to be here again this morning, and good morning, Nigeria.
Welcome to a beautiful Tuesday morning. And to us, it's a good way to begin Tuesday morning. And let's give our viewers what they've been looking forward to. The guest is seated, and I think it's a rich menu this day.
Indeed.
All right. Welcome to FCT Brief. Now, your morning show that brings you top political and economic conversations shaping Nigeria's capital and beyond. We are glad to have you join us as we take a deep dive into the unfolding political landscape ahead of the 2027 general elections. As the countdown begins, Nigeria's opposition parties appear to be struggling for relevance, direction, and cohesion. Internal wrangling, leadership tussle, and defections continue to weaken their structures, raising serious questions about their ability to challenge the ruling party effectively at the polls. The signs are clear: factional crisis within the People's Democratic Party (PDP), dwindling unity among emerging political blocs, and the apparent weakening of the ideological cohesion have left many wondering if the opposition still has the structure and strategy to challenge the ruling APC effectively in 2027.
Political observers say the survival of opposition politics in Nigeria will depend largely on unity of purpose, strategic alliances, and a clear ideological vision capable of inspiring the electorate. But the big question remains, can the opposition reinvent itself in time to mount a formidable challenge in 2027? Joining us live in the studio to unpack this issue is Segun Showunmi. He is the convener of The Alternative, and he'll be sharing his insights on the internal dynamics of opposition politics and what must change before 2027. Stay with us as this promises to be an engaging conversation. It's good to have you this morning on our program.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Very well.
Very well. Well, let's start with your party. There's sort of a brewing, will I say, trouble within your party, and that's because of the November 15 convention, which is already facing lawsuits and allegation of forged signatures. Can your party genuinely reinvent itself and reclaim credibility before 2027?
Yes, they can.
Okay, how?
Okay. First things first, you must understand that it's either you have a garrison where people don't have opinions, they don't quarrel, they don't scheme, they just obey, or you have a political party where people of diverse coloration, attitude, character, innuendos, educational background, the whole country come in and struggle for politics. If that freedom exists in any organization, the chances are that you will hear some noise. But one thing I would say is that I am a little bit worried for PDP, in the sense that typically what you have, even though we do the struggle a lot, typically what you have is there's a struggle, but the struggle is not driven by anything that resembles enmity between the sides. So they are okay. I want to win. You want to win. That's still okay. But you see, it's tilting to a point where it's as if the gloves are off. They're accusing themselves of forgery. They're making all sorts of comments. There's a deliberate attempt not to understand each other, but to win alone. If they continue in that trajectory, of course, they will be in the courts for a long time. It's already impacting the back end in the sense that why should the followers not be tired and wondering when is the crisis going to be over? It's impacting their governors. Contrary to what people think, no sensible governor will not be worried if he has elections to do or he has other things to do with himself. Will not be worried that, okay, when is this going to stop? Let's accept that you had this challenge before 2023. You're 2 years down the line, you're seeing what's happening to our rivals, and you're still on this. So it's a catch-22 situation. But the reason why I said they will get their act together is that PDP is a party where you just say it's over, and then the next thing you say that it's not over. Chief Obasanjo, who should have been the one that is carrying the alter ego of the party, being the first person to use them for, he tore his card. The party's here. Atiku Abubakar, who was the first vice president, left and came left. It's the party's here. So Jonathan, who was the one that won the party ticket last and ran the government, he sat out for like 10 years. The party's here. There is something organic about the PDP that makes it difficult to become extinct. They may not win, but I have always said to parties, including the PDP, including even the APC, you must know that ultimately it's the citizens in the country that will determine whether you win an election or not. Therefore, your members, not even all of your members, the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people that are insisting that they are leading political parties, they must never take their eyes off that. For what is the point in winning 100% of zero? So I think that basically what the PDP must do, if they know what is good for them, is recognize the fact that the election season has commenced. You have a new INEC chairman now. Congratulations to him. The attitude of the play space will determine how people will react to you.
Okay, talking about how people will react, and 2027 election is beyond what members of any political party will decide. It's what Nigerians will decide. And it has a lot of things to do with confidence of the people. Now, PDP, it's you have a crisis in Abia, they're in courts. In Imo State, they're in court, the national chairman. In the South-South zone, they're in court. Now, it shows that the internal mechanism of PDP, PDP used to say it's a family affair, that internal capacity to resolve its own crisis without going to courts is weakened. And when you are in court, you don't know when it's going to end. And that might suggest that, look, even due to Labour Party, NNPP, ADC, and it's like
have you bothered to ask yourself, what type of situation have we found ourselves in the country where it seems that every other party, apart from the party of the president, is unstable? You see, be careful when you desire that in a multi-party democratic space, that people are seeing that it seems as if it's only your party that is stable and every other party is unstable. They will begin to query, is there a hand of Esau interfering with things? I'm not saying that's a fact, but I'm saying that you have to be very, very careful. This democracy started in 1999, at least they won the first election in 1999. And all of those years, no matter what you saw, you didn't see this level of, destabilization in the other parties, even when PDP held sway for 16 years. Now, if the APC is in charge, give whatever you say about Muhammadu Buhari's 8-year reign, you didn't get this destabilization of all the other parties. And suddenly, there's a 2-year plus reign, and suddenly, human beings that are in all the other parties are suddenly unable to, you just get the impression that something is happening. So people are going to look for the reason beyond what is being reflected. But I say to you clearly, if the ruling party, the APC, knows what is good for it, if the president knows what is good for him, he had better not be found culpable in the destabilization of the political. Let me tell you what will happen. Yes, he may win the election, even fair and square, to be fair, because people are jumping into his party, if governors are playing, he may win fair and square. The challenge will start immediately after that victory. Because what would then happen is that there will be an amalgamation of a lot of forces who will be insisting that that election did not go well, and it may have gone well. And then what will then happen? We're going to be in a tunnel of a discredited election for no reason. And like I've been telling you, I've been here a couple of times, and I've always said, for the purposes of development, our greatest need now is to build consensus around leadership and around development. Okay, APC is in town. Let's just say that. What are the things we have agreed must be the developmental trajectory for the country? So while they are busy discussing politics and quarreling within themselves, the country is moving. Also, you remember you introduced me that I'm the convener of the alternative movement. It was seeing the danger in lack of reform on the sides of even the legacy parties like PDP and co. that makes you say, hey, we're running into a ditch. We need to go back to ourselves and go and reinterrogate the entire democratic process and try to see what's going on with our people. What are they saying? Why should anybody who is a Nigerian be happy that 93 million registered voters PVC collected and you're getting less than 20 million people turn up? Why should you be happy that you're looking at all the communication, micro communication platforms, social media and all that, and there's just a lot of anger? Why should you be happy that in a democracy, even when you say, okay, someone like me says, okay, I can see the direction of government policy, I can see what they're trying to do. Why are others not seeing it? So, when all the nations that you have seen, the Arab Spring and all of that, the leaders that were in charge, they were in charge of all the security apparatus of their country, but they couldn't really stop an implosion if the people get... You see, the whole idea of democracy is that people must have where to ventilate ideas. People must have where to challenge for authority. People must have where to further their ambition. And now they are all emptying into the APC. Good for them. Can I ask, how many governorship material do you have in one state in APC now as it stands? Now, how do you then manage their aspiration? How long do you think you can keep your backline humbled, loyal, and obedient when the top echelon of your organization is overfed and overpampered and they have all the trappings of the goodness of life, even when your own members, say the APC members, are struggling? So, bottom line, I've seen this go before. In 2009, this will be a comment that will help you see. You don't talk off the call. In 2009, we were running Ogun with now Senator, then Governor Benga Daniel. Everybody was emptying into our party in Ogun. And I kept shouting, this party will implode. I said it to them, this party will implode. This party will implode. Guess what happened? By 2011, we imploded. We imploded so badly that for 14 years now, we've not even been able to pick it up the way we should pick it up. So I know what happens when easily impressionable people believe that the grass is so green on the other side. They go in there with their bad attitude and then they stay there and start to bring their same attitude they've been using in the other place to corrupt the place. And I bought the APC from get-go. In 2015, Alhaji Lai Mohammed is alive. I told him, I said, listen, your party has won an election. You need to grow that party organically. This lazy attitude of thinking that Jack will suddenly become Jill the next day they come to your party is going to destroy the party. If you look at the APC now, does it even seem like the APC has an underpinning ideology that is driving it, other than there's a strong man in the president who can maybe dispense favor or dispense punishment?
Well, Mr. Showunmi,
how do you run a political party on an agenda that in the morning you wake up and remove a chairman and nothing is said, you remove a secretary and nothing is said? It's okay for them. I don't have a problem with it. I do not really have a problem, but I think that for the health of the democratic experiment we're running in this country, looking all around us, too risky.
Well, I like the way that the conversation is going and the fact that you brought in political inducement as tied to these defections that we see. But we'll discuss more about that right after this short break. Don't go anywhere. We still have more on the program. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It's back to our conversation with Segun Showunmi, the convener of the Alternative. Now, we see defections into the PDP almost on a weekly... Into the PDP
or into the APC?
Sorry, into the APC. It has become sort of like a weekly ritual. And now, you know, you before we went to the break, you called it political inducement. And the APC itself is saying this is just realignment or alignment in the sense of the word. Some people are asking, when will the PDP and others in the opposition, you know, face the reality at hand and stop hiding behind this excuse of political inducement?
No. Please be advised. If I say political inducement, I do not really mean that it's the president inducing them. They could induce themselves in that direction. For instance, if you are a governor and you want to run a second term, and you are from the southern end of the country, the southern belt, you could look at the country and say to yourself that, hey, what's going on here? We just done 8 years of Buhari in the north. Why are the North not generally understanding that we run the country on the pendulum? Let me be very clear so that nobody is even thinking that we're joking here. I'm not going to be part of this. The South is going to hold the presidency for 8 years, and I think the president is the best person to make that happen, so I'm staying. That would be a political reason for doing that. Some others might say, hey, what's going on here? Am I going to take the risk that I'm going to be going for re-election and then they'll come and say the court said PDP does not have candidate? Because if they don't know what they're doing to themselves, that possibility exists. No court is going to do them a favor No judge is going to do them a favor. If they waste their time in court, if they start putting all sort of obstacle in front of themselves, of course the judiciary is going to be firm enough, looking at the evidence and the argument adduced and make pronouncement. And INEC is not going to do them a favor. So what do you want the governor to do? He's going to say, okay, really and truly, who are these people? I'm out. Some of them will say, okay, where's the easiest way for me? Or everything considered. The president, look, let's not fool ourselves. The presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so that I don't personalize it, is doing well relative to the governors, relative to the structural intentions around putting more energy at local government and all that. So you don't expect a local government chairman who for the first time in the history of the country is seeing resources being warehoused, legitimate resources via the RAMFAC and, you know, how they share money, come to them. They will say, what has been going on all these years? Why is it that now we're getting so much? Or governors who suddenly don't have to worry about not paying pensions, who don't have to juggle about fractional salaries for their workers. Say, this is good. They will have legitimate reasons to want to back in. The conversation on the table is not about whether he will win or he will not win. We can do that on another day. The conversation on the table is the health of the democratic institution and the journey we're on. No, but in fact, if he knows what is good, he's supposed to be the one that is most nervous at the potential optics of a one-party or one ideal, one strong party country under his watch. It would effectively mean that for the first Democrats, first real long-term Democrat who has been in the play under his watch, the democracy of the country shrank. That's failure. Whatever he needs to do is his business. But he can't carry the reputation that, as a Democrat, well, you can't call Bola Tinubu a soldier. You can't call him one of the reactionary forces. He's always been in democracy. His credentials in democracies are quite clear. How will he then be saying that under him, part of, the reconstruction of the country, recalibration of the country would then include the narrowing of the democratic space until it begins to resemble that only the ruling party of the ruling president can survive, and every other party, including institutional parties that have been surviving before he came on board. I don't know how he wants to flip the coin.
So are you suggesting that the APC should shut its doors?
No, you see, no, that's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm saying is that, you see, a leader has more than just the responsibility of a 9-to-5 job of being a manager. As a president, as a manager of the country, okay, RAMFAC, that will go. Finance will do what it needs to do. CBN will do what it needs to do. That's easy. All of the other trappings, your ministers, they will do their bit if you give them the resources to work. That's easy. Your duty as president of the country is to make sure that you are looking at all the things that can make your country sustainable and make your country great. And part of the thing that makes your country great is to say to yourself, if we are to run a one-party state, what type of structures, what type of attitude do we need to run that? And I can tell you for free, yes, nations have done very well under one party. China has done well, all the other ones have done well, and they've scaled up development. Some of us even begin to say that this democracy is not even a lot of noise and very little progress. But for you to do that, we can do that, we can choose that. It has to be consensus that I've been screaming. We have to build consensus around development, around development. And one of the things that will need to happen, one of the things that will definitely need to happen is that everywhere they've run that process, they've never allowed the ruling elite to live large at the expense of the mass. So for you to do that, if you desire it, if that is our future, then we must understand that then we must be a bit stricter with those who are in charge. Because you can't, otherwise what will happen is that they will start to assassinate themselves. People are going to assume that, anybody who gets the ticket of the ruling party is automatically going to win, and before you know what's happening, they'll start killing themselves. Why do you want that in the country?
Let's look at it. The PDP, the Labour Party, the NPP, and even the ADC that came up with so much hope.
Disregard the ADC to stay on the other parties, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. When you explain it, you explain that to us. Now, would you say it is ego-tripping by the leaders of these various parties, or the lack of ideology, Or is it the weakness of their various institutions that is responsible for this persistent crisis in these opposition parties?
Look, the PDP, for starts, has endured. These parties were started in 1999, 98. The AD, where is it? The AC, where is it? All the others, where are they? To their credit, they are standing. So you can't accuse them of saying. What I see happening with the PDP right now is that I said it, I think not on your platform, one platform, that look, we survived, the PDP as a party survived the first stroke, which was G5, them Sheyi Makinde and Co with Wike. The second stroke now is the pullback of Atiku Abubakar and his own energy. That's the second stroke. What you are seeing going on here, where there seems to be nobody that can get anybody to listen and have a bit of common sense, is that Atiku has a bit pulled down. And say what you will about him, you can never disregard the fact that there is a behemoth in the political democratic space. So he's pulling away. He's already creating the consequences of the second stroke. I think they will survive. The Labour Party, you have to blame Peter Obi for that. That party had been around, albeit a medium-sized party, nothing over the top, until Peter came in there and they gave him their ticket. And to his credit, phenomenally did well, and they started looking like a good party. Yeah. What does Peter think is the responsibility of a leader? Does Peter think the responsibility of the leader is to always move when there's a crisis or not to solve the problem? Now suddenly he's backed off them a bit, even though he says he's not led. And the Labour Party has gone back to his mediocre ways. Oh yeah, you wanted to talk about, instead of you to talk about Showere's party, you're talking about ADC. In Showere's party, you may say, I don't like his style. I don't like the style of Soli every 5 minutes. But you can't argue with the fact that you can see a particular pattern that is a bit consistent. What are you going to say about ADC? The jokers who left PDP without managing their issues, who are leaving APC without managing their issues, who are leaving Labour without managing their issues, have carried their character into a party that has been existing for a while. And what did they do? Rather than accept that you have to build from the ground and put in the energy to build from the ground, what did they do? They sat in Abuja, connived with some chairman of the place whose tenure ordinarily should have ended in that party, bought the top line of the party without looking at the concern of that party, which says if you are to remove the chairman, you must replace him with somebody from his zone. They didn't check that. They now have, what's his name now, David Mark and Co., including Aregbe, parading themselves as leaders of ADC. Whereas the body structure of the ADC, since it has been a party in existence before now, containing ward executive, local government executive, state executive are having a hair.
But the court has recognized them.
What do you mean by the court? Have they finished the case? Recognize them how? You can come to the court and tell the court that, oh, we have done nonsense, but that nonsense, we did it right. That does not mean that some other person will not take it to court and say, that which you did, was it within our constitution? Was it within our law? So why are they fractionized? Why do they have two campaign offices or party offices? Why do they have one in Utaku and one wherever, in Wuse, where David Mark is saying they are? Why are they having issues? Because, you see, give it to Ashaju. Patience is also a virtue. Between 2007, when he finished governor in Lagos, do you know how many years between 2007 to 2023 when he won presidency? Almost 16 years. That's the time it takes to build anything. But you see, the problem you have with the democratic institutions of opposition is that you have a lot of hoppers. They hop about like monkeys. Once things are not going their way, they start running around, they start thinking this and that, they start destabilizing it, they start using the little gravitas they have to destabilize the place. And when you try to tell them, the grass is not always greener on the other side, can't you just let us stay here and build it? Are you not even ashamed that South Africa has a party that is 104 years old, ANC? Even China, that is a so-called CPC, you know how old that party is? More than 93 years, or maybe a little bit over 100 years. Do you know how old the Democratic Party in America is? 198. So what I'm saying is that leaders have to understand that you have to constantly repair your house. Okay. Constantly.
All right.
You want to blame the president? Yes, I want to blame him too because it's convenient to blame him and he's the president, can take the blame. But am I going to blame him entirely for the fact that adults are moving?
So with what you're saying now, are you saying that among these opposition figures, Atiku Abubakar, Rabiu Konkoso, Peter Obi, you mentioned Showore, there is no formidable opposition that can, confront President Tinubu in 2027?
No, but oh God, President Tinubu is cheaply beatable. It's cheaply beatable. The challenge on the table is, how do you beat him? The first thing you must understand is that we don't have independent candidacy in this country. So if you don't have independent candidacy, you got to fix a party. Now, if you want to fix the party, and all you guys are doing, PDP especially, very destabilizing and very, very painful to watch, they are fighting. Over what? Over losses? Okay, I'm the chairman, I'm the secretary. What does that really mean? So nobody can help them with that except themselves. ADC, would they not have been sensible enough to understand that you can't just hop into hopping? You have to go to place, make sure that you start it from the scratch, put in all the effort, work it out until you have a strong structure, and pray and hope you can attract people who would then say, but this is your character. This is what you've done before. What is Peter's problem? You think if he stayed in his Labour Party by now, that party will not be the main opposition? The energy is there. The people are excited and excitable. He has a bit of energy to walk around. But he's the one who's not even stayed in his party. Everybody blames the next person but themselves. That's the problem of opposition. Everybody comes and says, oh, it's Shaggy, but it's not you. It's Femi, it's not you. No. The only way you're going to get it to say, okay, yes, if you want to win the next election, assuming you want to win, first of all, where should the presidency come from based on the pendulum rule? Because you're not going to come and tell us in the Southwest now or in the South, general South, that, oh, after 8 years of Muhammadu Buhari's presidency, you want to destroy the country again and we'll have unending crisis like we used to have before. You need to stay in the South for 8 years. If you want to stay in the South for 8 years, are you not going to even look for who is the material that can even get the job done? Let's get that one started. Somebody will know that we can show the Nigerian people and they'll be happy with him.
Quite
and
interesting.
Then take the party and then run. But you know what they're doing? Everybody is assuming that Bola Tinubu is easy to beat. That was what led them into all this medley of misdirected activity. They are calling agency, all this kind of useless. And he's going to beat them so much, and they're going to then start accusing him of he rigged them. And then when they start accusing him of he rigged them, that's when his own problem will start. Because he's going to be explaining and explaining and explaining and explaining, and nobody's going to listen. And you can never have enough ammunition, you can never have enough security to push down 93 million people when your numbers will probably, going by the last one, was just about 8. If you are not even careful, less people will turn out now. Because people have made the democracy very obvious.
Mr. Showunmi, to always have you on the program. We can go on and on and on. But our time
should do like 2 hours. We should find 2 hours.
If you pay for it, we will. But thank you so much.
Why? To educate people have to give ideas to how to pay.
The one that you've used is enough. Thank you so much for your time.
Totally my pleasure. Totally my pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Well, that's where we'll leave our conversation today. We are glad you could be a part of it. We'll now hand you over to Lagos, where Ria and the rest of the team are standing by to continue with the rest of the show.
You definitely have to love Mr. Showunmi there. Thank you so much, Abuja. Quite a beautiful conversation. Thank you.